Macmillan Audio presents Iraq Plus 100, the first anthology of science fiction to have emerged from Iraq. Edited by Hassan Blasim. Read for you by Peter Ganim. Introduction. The idea of this book was born in late 2013, amid the chaos and destruction left by the U.S. and British occupation of Iraq. Chaos that would drag Iraq into further destruction through Islamic State control over many parts of the country. No nation in modern times has suffered as much as Iraq has suffered. Iraq has not tasted peace, freedom, or stability since the first British invasion of the country in 1914. Since then, Iraqis have lived through a long saga of wars, death, destruction, population displacement, imprisonment, torture, ruin, and tragedies. So, perhaps unsurprisingly, it was difficult to persuade many Iraqi writers to write stories set in the future, when they were already so busy writing about the cruelty, horror, and shock of the present, or trying to delve into the past to reread Iraq's former nightmares and glories. In the process, I personally wrote to most of the writers assembled here in an attempt to encourage them to write for the project. I told them that writing about the future would give them space to breathe outside the narrow confines of today's reality, and that writers needed more space to explore and develop certain ideas and concepts through storytelling. I said they would be writing about a life that is almost unknown, without relying directly on their own experience or their personal reading of the past or the present. Writing about the future can be wonderful and exciting, an opportunity to understand ourselves, our hopes, and our fears by breaking the shackles of time. It's as if you're dreaming about the destiny of man. At first, I was uneasy that we would pull it off. The idea had originally been suggested by my friend and publisher, Ra Page, along the lines of, imagine Iraq 100 years after the U.S. occupation through short fiction. My unease arose from two sources. The first was related to Iraqi literary writing in general, and the second to the literary scene and my personal relationship with it. In an article that dealt with the beginnings of our project, the journalist Mustafa Najjar wrote, "The reluctance of Arab writers to address the future has long been a great mystery, at least to me. The walls of repression and censorship that confine Arab creativity so severely offer in themselves an ideal environment for writing about the future, a space that is free of the taboos that weigh on the past and the present." Iraqi literature suffers from a dire shortage of science fiction writing, and I am close to certain that this book of short stories is the first of its kind, in theme and in form, in the corpus of modern Iraqi literature. Faced with the fact that Iraqi literature lacks science fiction writing, we have tried in this project to open more windows for Iraqi writers. We asked them to write a short story about an Iraqi city 100 years after the start of the occupation, and said they were not required to write science fiction, but had complete freedom to choose any genre of writing that could address the future. We did not select specific writers to take part in the project. We opened the door to anyone who wanted to take part and to imagine an Iraqi city in 100 years, whether academics, novelists, or writers of short stories. There are many possible reasons for this dearth of science fiction writing in Iraqi literature and in Arabic literature in general. Perhaps the most obvious reason is that science fiction in the West was allowed to track the development of actual science from about the middle of the 19th century onwards. The same period was hardly a time of technological growth for...
Sample complete. Ready to continue?